Hey everyone, welcome back. Before we jump into all the cool data access stuff in our Spring Boot playlist, let's take a second to tidy up our code a bit. Remember that employee service we built in our REST service videos? We're going to take a quick look at that and make sure everything's still working before we get into the new stuff. So, let's get our code cleaned up and refresh our memory on the employee service. Follow along on my screen. Alright, let's start by cleaning up our application.yaml. We're going to get rid of the app message property because we don't need it anymore. Next, we'll also remove user and custom configuration that we no longer require. Now we're going to remove the spring.config.import property and any profile-specific settings from our application.yaml. Next, clean up our run configuration. Alright, now that our configuration is nice and clean, let's tidy up our code a little more. We're going to remove some classes that we don't need anymore. Remove the global exception handler annotation 1 class, as it's no longer required. Next, delete config package. Next, delete all controller class except employee service controller. Delete global exception handler 1 class. Now, we're going to delete the address and user classes. We don't need them anymore. Now, let's just clean house completely by removing the resolver package. Remove all service classes except for employee service. Now it's time to clean up our resources folder. We're going to delete everything except for a few essential files: application.yaml, log4j2.yml, and employee service JSON layout.json. Alright, we've finished the cleanup. Let's start the application now and make sure everything's working as expected. Alright, we're all set. Our application is running perfectly. Now, let's take a closer look at our employee service controller and employee service classes and see what we've got. So, in the employee service controller, you'll see we've got all those REST APIs for things like getting employee details, adding, updating, and deleting employees. If you've seen our REST service videos, you'll recognize a lot of this. If you haven't, I'd suggest checking them out, because we're going to be using a lot of that stuff in this section. Now, remember in the employee service class, we were using a map to store data in memory? Well, we're moving on to something much cooler now. We're going to be working with SQL databases and learning how to use Spring Boot for real data access. We'll be looking at different ways to connect to a SQL database and make our application more robust. Alright folks, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.